What's up, wall fans, common sensors, social media world? Welcome to the video feed, not live feed, video feed for episode 42 of Common Sense Sundays with Go Tell It to the Wall, hosted by me, of course, your favorite podcast host, the one and only Sean O'Rourke. After a week off, as usual, we got a lot of content to get through. So that being said, let's just get into to episode 42 here.
One, two, three, go tell it to the wall. Tell it to the wall. Go tell it to the wall. Tell it to the wall.
All right, wall fans, common sensors, podcast consumers. Welcome to episode 42 of Common Sense Sundays with Go Tell It to the Wall, hosted by me, your absolute favorite podcast host, the one and only Sean O'Rourke. We had a week off last week, so we got a lot of stuff to get through this week, but we always kick things off with our social plugs. You can keep up with us before episodes, after episodes, during episodes, whenever you so please, and you can do that in multiple locations. One of those would be facebook.com/GoTellItToTheWall. That's right, facebook.com/GoTellItToTheWall. That's our official Facebook page. I'm going to keep you up to date on all new content, all new episodes, all kinds of great stuff, so make sure you like our page if you're a Facebook user. Of course, YouTube, head on over to YouTube, search Go Tell It to the Wall, subscribe to our channel. That's where you're going to find all of our videos. Some of them get posted on Facebook, but really, especially our playlist, specifically the beer review playlist, the parenting playlist, the mental health Monday playlist, and of course, the live feeds and video feeds from Go Tell It to the Wall, as well as Common Sense Sundays. All of that is up there on YouTube. So if you're a YouTube user, make sure you're subscribed to our channel. And of course, my own personal Instagram account, which is at SoCalSean. That's right, at SoCalSean, SoCalSean. You're going to find Go Tell It to the Wall content, but also other content on there. Like I've said before, I'm a big Instagram user, so you're going to catch you probably catch me actually on Instagram more than a lot of sites, unless I'm doing Go Tell It to the Wall stuff on Facebook. And of course, most importantly, all-encompassing of those things I just mentioned would be SeanO'RourkeLive.com. That's right, SeanO'RourkeLive.com. That is the official website for everything that pertains to Go Tell It to the Wall, Common Sense Sundays, and yours truly, Sean O'Rourke. So make sure you bookmark that, and you're going to find links right there to get to our YouTube channel, to get to our Facebook page, and as well to get to our Patreon campaign. That's right. If you haven't heard of Patreon, check it out. Even if you don't support us, go on to Patreon, see what artists, broadcasters, musicians that you can support on there. Preferably us, but if not, there's lots of other great artists on there. That's a way you can help other artists, musicians, broadcasters like myself, supporting them financially. Every dollar helps, so please help us out there. And if you don't want to just give us money, you can give us money for merch. We'll give you merch back, and that would be through our merch website, which you can link directly from SeanO'RourkeLive.com. We got t-shirts, sweatshirts, mugs, travel mugs, like funky wine glass, those mug things, the stemless ones. So pick up some common sense merch there right through the website. Week off was really, it was a nice little rest. Had a little bit of hecticness because of Easter. It wasn't like a super relaxing weekend. But I do find that at times it's good to kind of reset a little bit, just take a week off. If you've been listening for a long time, sometimes I just do that. Like most times there's a reason, but sometimes I'll just be like, you know what? I had to spend more time with my daughter and my wife this weekend, so we're just going to go ahead and skip an episode. And sometimes that's real beneficial. I think this was a good time to have a little bit of a pause. Although at the same time, we picked up, and this always seems to happen, we picked up crazy steam off of the last episode. And sometimes it breaks up that momentum, which was a little bit disappointing because we were doing some really good numbers there, and then we didn't have a lot of stuff going on. So that part's a little bit disappointing. But I think in the end, it's good to have a little bit of a break, just for me personally. And maybe a break for all of you out there. You get a week of not having to listen to me rant and rave and yell at a wall, because you obviously enjoy it because no one's forcing you to listen to it, but everyone needs a break now and then either way. All right. In fact, I did put one thing up, and I think this was, and usually, like, I'll get mad at algorithms, and I see people do this so much, and I see it on Facebook especially, and I'm connected to so many freaking people on Facebook. In fact, I'm going to mention that in a minute, but people are like, are you seeing my posts? Are you seeing, and it's like, dude, everybody's seeing, maybe they're seeing them, maybe they're not. Problem is, like, not everyone's sitting on there like, any of you sitting out there, you probably, you scroll through, you're not necessarily hitting all the things so that people see that you're seeing their things. It's just one of those funny things. So I often am like, oh, the algorithm. And I'm like, nah, it's just people just aren't interacting. However, I did post midweek this week. And I know this was one that people just missed because I know there are people out there that would have been commenting their opinions on this and didn't actually do it. So what I had done was I posted on the Go Tell It to the Wall Facebook page because I've been debating, not even debating, I've decided to dye my hair just for fun because I figured why not. I brought it up with my wife like a few months ago. She's like, yeah, let's just dye it. Why not? Why not dye it? I was like, yeah, let's do it. And I was kind of deciding what color. Now, when I was younger, in my late teens, early 20s, I was constantly had a bleached head of hair. And especially, and not right now, you don't see it because I've been stuck inside for a year, but my hair gets really blonde just from the sun. It's funny, my beard has a red tint to it, and my hair has very much a blonde tint to it. But I would bleach my hair, had the real blonde hair, and for a little while, I was using, I don't know, some of that real almost oxblood red. So I've only had my hair two colors, but I'm debating which color. So if you're listening to this and you didn't already chime in, because we only got that's what I mean is I know, because I know there's people that want to put their opinion out there on this, just even if they're just being funny. So if you're hearing this, let me know what color you think I should dye my hair. Right now, the prevailing color based on what people are commenting is blue. But I wasn't really leaning toward the blue as much. I don't know. We'll see. We'll figure out where that's going to go. But soon, get the hair dyed. Let me know what you guys think. Maybe you have your hair dyed, and I don't know. Some options. And also keeping in mind that the color that my hair is, because it's funny, I started scrolling through some of the, and this is the kind of stuff you never had when I was in my 20s. And it took me a few tries to figure out which bleach was the best, and that's what I used from then on. But now you just go online and it shows you kind of tints of hair and then what it'll turn to. It was a little too much for me to comprehend. So I just need someone to tell me what the hell color my hair should be. I did get a bit of an ego boost this week. I'm sure there's a couple of funny stories before we move on to digital trends. I think it was Monday. I'm working out in my backyard, which I do at least 3-4 times a week. I have a little weight bench set up there and some weights, lifting weights. Nothing crazy. I'm not the most in shape individual. I do these things to help me burn fat as opposed to getting in crazy shape. So I'm out there working out. I'm almost at the end of my little workout here, and I look up and just to paint the picture for you a little bit. I live on a street that's all houses, but next door to me on one side is this small little 4-apartment building. It's a very small building, and they've people moving in and out. We're not far from a college, and in fact, I noticed 3 or 4 young ladies moving in a couple months ago, just because I could see, and I assumed it was them because you could clearly see it was parents helping their kids and stuff, and I was like, oh, maybe some college kids moving in. So I'm pretty sure it's the same ones. But I look up, because it's a 2-story 4-apartment building. I look up, and one of the windows, the blinds are open, and you can actually see into my yard from this apartment building if you're trying to look into it. And I look up, and apologies to people only listening on audio, because I'm gonna kind of give the look to the people on the video here. So I look up, and there's a female in this window, and she's doing one of these kind of she's like, oh, as if she's looking at a bird or something. I'm like, oh, okay. And I literally just glanced up there, and I think she saw me start to look up there, obviously. But that wasn't the tell. What happened was a second young lady starts, I see the other one just kind of looking around, and I see this other head pop up, and then she goes, oh, and pops back down. I just started laughing. And I was like, all right. The young ladies next door spying on me working out. It was quite the ego boost. Then I also had a realization. I was like, okay, these are probably college. I'm probably technically old enough to be their father. But thank you for the ego boost. Peeping Tom girls next door. And the blinds went I don't know how long they've been looking, but the blinds went straight down, and then they were just gone. And then it's extra funny because I tell my wife. And so yesterday, she goes to cut my hair. My wife cuts my hair. She's been, ever since the pandemic started, my wife cuts my hair. And so we go out to the backyard, and it's my own backyard. And I'm not. It's fairly private, with the exception of this apartment that can look down into my backyard. But what I do, I go out there with no shirt because I'm like, I don't want to get hair all over my shirt. There's no. I know I can just watch it, but why? Why? I'm just gonna sit there, towel draped over me, and my wife's like, "Oh, you're giving them a show." So of course I got all self-conscious. It's funny. I come across as very, oh my gosh, what's the word I'm looking for? Very confident. Difficult words. It shows you how confident I am in real life. I can't even remember the word confident. But really, yes, I'm not as confident as I come across. Very much not so. It's more of a personality trait. So I get self-conscious. I'm like, oh God, I hope these girls aren't watching me now. Because I didn't mind. I laughed. I was like, thank you for the ego boost when they're. But I was just like, okay, now it's getting a bit too much. But that peeping Tom, and I felt kind of bad because they were probably super embarrassed, and I was like, you know what? That's fine. It'd be one thing if someone was like looking into windows, then I'd be like, whoa. But I'm outside. Like, if the kind of the way houses on our street, my next door neighbors on the other side, if they're walking out of their house and down their steps, like they look into it's not, I'm not worried about the privacy situation necessarily. But I am self-conscious. I don't have as much confidence as comes across when I yell at a wall. Crippling social anxiety. For the most part. Facebook requests. I want to mention this before we get into I'm losing words. Self-conscious. Before we get into digital trends, I know I've been mentioning, and I think this is a common theme because I've seen other people that I know, whether kind of peripherally or know well, have been getting inundated with Facebook requests lately, friend requests. And it's funny, my sister Laura and I were talking about it the other day, and I was like, I don't know. And she gets inundated all the time because she's kind of in the same scene. But guys are disgusting, and guys think they can just friend females on Facebook, and those females want to automatically sleep with them. It's not how it works, guys. If you're one of those guys, don't do it. Just don't even, if you're going to send a message just to say hi and be a friend, that's fine. But don't. God, I've seen some of these creepy messages that my female friends, oh, God, it's terrible. So we were kind of unpacking. I'm like, BSP's got a new album, and, maybe I'm popping up a lot because of that, because I'm not in BSP, but because of the fan group that we've talked about, and being friends. And I was like, I don't know. There's just a lot of them popping up. Some random, some in the scene, whatever it is, still getting inundated with them. And I'm just, I'm at the point, and I don't mean this as like, too many people want to be my friend, because a lot of it's spam and stuff, too. It's people that are just like, oh, click, 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 and I'm like, I'm fine with that as long as you're not, spamming me or... you get all these fake kind of porn accounts, and they're not porn, hardcore porn, but it's clearly some dude stealing some female's photos off the internet and putting them up there. So I avoid that every morning. I'm like, oh man, Facebook requests, and I still look through them, because sometimes it'll pop up and it's 100. And that happened yesterday. I got a friend request, and it was 158 mutual friends, and the two that it listed plus one. I was like, oh yeah, no, that makes sense. But the other morning, this past week, I wake up. And look, I'm scrolling through, and I'm like, and I kind of went, oh, and this happened with two different requests this week, and I went, holy shit, what? You want to be my friend? I geeked out a bit on two different occasions this week, geeked out and went, oh, wow, why are you, I know who you are. How do you know who I am? And I'm not talking, because I've met... This literally just you have found my name somehow and you reached out to me. That happened twice this week. So pay attention to your friend requests, because sometimes one of those is going to sneak up on you. You're going to be like, holy crap. Yes, I will be your friend. Absolutely. All right. See, we're just we're already tangented. So that happens when I miss a week. I'm even in my dad's sweater here. For those of you that aren't watching the video feed, I've got my Vans knurled neck cardigan sweater here. It's a dad's sweater, but it's still cool because it's a Vans sweater. That's what I tell myself. I actually love this sweater. I got the cool thing about this kind of sweater, and that's what this is my slight dress up is, and I have quite a few cardigans, not like hundreds, but I have a few, and this is how I get a little more dressed up, because if my wife's like, oh, we got no hoodies, I'm like, cardigan, boom, done. And I like these in particular because you can throw a little pin on the side. I'm wearing my Drowns pin today on this particular sweater, so it's as opposed to hoodies. You can put it, but they fit nice. If you're watching the video, see how nice that is. I highly recommend, men and women, if you like pins, get yourself some of these sweaters. I'm a fan. See, tangented even more. Digital trends. National Sibling Day was yesterday. It's funny, I have posted in the past. Didn't post yesterday, and it was easy enough for me to actually just share some memories, but I was like, I'm busy. Not that I don't love my siblings, but I bring this up because to remind you to not only think of your actual siblings that you had to grow up with and you're required to be siblings with. Also remember your siblings that are family because you chose them to be family. You know, your family, siblings one thing, but your family. I've got a couple of those myself. I've got a sibling by marriage, and we're very, very good friends. And I've got two sisters that are not actually my siblings, but they are my sisters, and literally refer to them that way. So happy National Sibling Day belated, because it was yesterday. However, today is National Pet Day. So hopefully if you've got pets at home, you're sharing some pictures of your cute little pets and with that hashtag National Pet Day. We don't have any pets in the O'Rourke household right now. I have a feeling I'm like a year away from it. My kid, like, she's like, oh, can we get the, you know? And I think I mentioned on a previous episode, my wife now very much like wants to do the chicken thing, and I'm fine. We can do the chicken thing. But I think I'm probably about a year away from a pet for my now 4-year-old. But eventually the kid's going to have a pet. She had 2 pets when she was born. It's just, unfortunately, the dog passed away when she was, 6 months. And the cat passed away when she was 10 months. So it's, not only is it like, because I enjoy some cleanliness, very much so. I am not a fan of animal hair. Oh, God. It's everywhere. Like, I've had cats. I had a cat before my wife and I got together, and that was the cat that we had as a couple, and my daughter, had for 10 months. I've been there, and I loved my cat. And once we get another pet, I'll love it, but that hair is going to kill me. So I'm a little reluctant because of that, but I'm also reluctant just because we've been there, and it's like, okay, I'm still not quite ready. I had the cat's ashes sit right in front of me. I had the cat for 12 years. Like, that was my buddy for a long time when I was single, when I was a bachelor, I guess. So take care of your pets. National Pet Day. I guess, I don't know. We're going to get into parenting. My kid does technically have pets right now, and she very much wants to, it's a whole thing. We'll get into that, into some parenting. Dr. Pepper, that was trending on the social platforms this past week, and you know why? God, this thing it's getting out of hand. The Georgia voter suppression. I'm not even going to call it Georgia voting laws. Georgia voter suppression. This is in reaction to a loudmouthed orange human being, and in reaction to zero evidence of anything happening. And it's obviously designed to don't like. I love people who are like, well, you should have to have an ID to. That's fine. Look at the whole thing and look at how it is designed to suppress the minority vote in Georgia. It is spring and the flies are flying. Oh, dang it. Got a fly flying around here. But I encourage you, look into that. Look, why? What is the real reason? So, of course, Coke came out and spoke out against it, and they're like, this is not right. So then all the other asshats on one side of the aisle are like, we're going to boycott Coke. Coke, Dr. Pepper tastes better anyways. Great. People are like, we got to start drinking Pepsi now and all this other shit. And I love this because ever since I was a kid, I understood, this has been happening since I was young. The big companies just buy everything up. So, yes, boycott Coke. Go drink Dr. Pepper. You know who owns Dr. Pepper? Well, not only that, you know who distributes Dr. Pepper in Europe? That would be Coca-Cola. Now, granted, we're talking about something in the U.S. here. But they were like, Dr. Pepper tastes better. In the U.S., it's owned by and it's distributed by a company called Keurig. They make those little things. They've donated a ton of money to stuff that would make these same people very upset. So you're trading one for the other. And then Pepsi, they're of those three, they're clearly the most socially woke. I hate when I have to use that word, but for lack of a better word, socially woke company of those three. So good luck out there, people in the South. That's been always funny to me. I don't know. And then people are freaking out about the All-Stars. It's like, shut up. Why don't you go read something, do something about it? And then you're so worried, we're going to boycott baseball. Great. I hope people do boycott baseball. See, it's not going to help me here in Los Angeles because no one's going to boycott it in Los Angeles. Shit, if I lived in the South and all those idiots were boycotting baseball, I'd be like, sweet. I don't have to go get sweated on and spit on and yelled at by a bunch of drunken fat idiots in the South. I'm not saying everyone in the South is a drunken, but have you ever been to a sporting event in some places? It's actually the same in LA, but they're still going to be here in LA. They're not boycotting it here in LA. You know, maybe it'll keep that guy out that walked out of the stadium calling me the F word. Not the 4-lettered one, the 3-lettered one. That was LGBTQ night, too. I always forget that. Yeah, go ahead. Good luck with that, guys. Good luck with that. Good luck with this, too. We got rallies happening across the country right now. Literally right now. They're probably done by now because nobody actually wanted to go to them. And these would be the White Lives Matter rallies. White Lives Matter. Yeah, so a bunch of racist people are going out there and acting like they're oppressed. This is my favorite thing. Whenever a white person's like, oh, I'm oppressed, it's like, are you now? Because that's the thing. Here's a little history lesson for everybody out there. Really, white males. White male lives have mattered since the inception of this country. They put it in a thing. All men are created equal. They meant white men with money. White men have had it pretty damn good since 1776, really before that, but since the inception of what we call the United States of America. But all these white guys have to act like they're oppressed. I never understand this. I never do. We've talked about white privilege on here. I've been there. The one thing I will say is, at least from the little bit of searching I did, is the White Lives Matter crowd has been outnumbered about 10-1 at these rallies, because there's obviously counter protests from Black Lives Matter movement that have been popping up as well. But which that part is very positive. The really sad thing is when you see stuff like this, White Lives Matter rallies and everything, it's just confirmation that we're never going to fully get rid of racism. It's never going to go away. It can get better. I mean, it's gotten better in my lifetime for sure, but it's still so far from being gone or being great. But yeah, have fun with your little Nazi rallies out there. They're going off in Huntington Beach, but it's funny because there was like two dudes. I've been there. No. Freaking MAGA rally made me late for a festival in Huntington. Idiots. All right, COVID updates. Looks like the vaccine eligibilities have been opening up, at least here in California. They just announced yesterday, I believe, that you are now, if you're 16 or older, you're eligible to just book a COVID vaccine appointment. And I think a lot more of that's happening around the country. I'm getting my second one in a couple days, so that'll be interesting. Looking forward to that. At least just kind of getting over that next hurdle, because I'm not in a rush to get out there. There's a lot of stories out there. A lot of other countries other states not doing so well. Countries not. Brazil, oh my God. If don't freak yourself out, but they're not doing well in Brazil, man, at all with the COVID cases. I actually had some friends, and I know many others did this too. I'd seen people posting, driving to Bakersfield, which is north of Los Angeles, probably about an hour. I don't know. I drive through Bakersfield, but I don't pay attention how long it takes to get there. They had a vaccine clinic thing, and they were telling people, like, we have nobody here getting vaccines. Please come and take these vaccines. So I know a few people that made that trek up to Bakersfield to go ahead and get their vaccine. And I'm sure, more and more people getting the vaccine, the better off we're going to be. It's simple as that. And it's really frustrating seeing some of the argument. Now, you have anti-vaxxers out there. And here's the thing, if you've listened to the podcast for a long time, and I haven't talked about it in a while, especially because there's no Burning Man last year, but I was an avid burner for a long. I would still consider myself a burner. But seeing the arguments from burners on the social platforms is really ridiculous. And I get it, you're always going to have outliers, but on the Burning Man pages, it's like 50-50. We're not talking like a couple of anti-vaxxers in there. It's like 50-50. And people are talking about fake vaccine passports, which we're going to talk about in a minute. And I will say, even in the punk rock community, it pops up a little bit like, no, I'm not getting a vaccine. That's crazy. But it's like 1 for every 10. as opposed to like 5 and 5. Look, it's terrifying. It's gonna be a few years before I go to Burning Man. Because here's the other thing with Burning Man is that's not a very sanitary place to begin with. Just like it's not this hedonistic thing that a lot of people think it is, but it's not the most sanitary place. It's just not. And then you have people converging on it from other countries, all over this country and all over the world, that come to Nevada to go to this thing. Brazil not doing well, coming to the country, and then you just have people that are anti-vax and like literally don't wash their hands. I mean, I'm not saying dirty burners. There's a lot of hippies out there that don't really do things like wash their hands. It's gonna be a few years before I'm going to Burning Man. Super spreader event for sure. Luckily, there are burners speaking out against it, but it's going to be a super spreader event. All right, these vaccine passports that everyone's talking about. Like, oh, this is like, that's my favorite thing, because they're like, yeah, this is crazy. I can't travel without a vaccine, proof of vaccination. It's like, you couldn't do that before, right? To certain countries. Like, we've had this. You have to have certain vaccinations to go to certain countries. They literally won't let you in. And it always amuses me, the people that are like, this is crazy, I'm not going to have a vaccine passport. It's like, do you yell at the Border Patrol people when they won't let you bring an orange from Arizona to California? Like, it's just safety measures, people. Calm it the fuck down. We've had them forever. And then, of course, we're hearing stories of fake vaccine cards. There's a place in LA that apparently you can go get these fake vaccine cards. Jesus Christ. It's just no sympathy for your fellow man. And what was it? It was George Costanza. We all live in a society, and we have certain, I think he got cut in line or something silly like that. But he's kind of right. Mutual respect for one another. But no, we just have White Lives Matter rallies instead. The fuck out of here. On that note, mental health. I don't have a lot this week, but I do want to reiterate something we've kind of talked about a little bit, and that would be like the gradual move back to normal, and opening up the world again, and being around people. And geez, I haven't driven a car in over a year. Holy shit, it's gonna be weird. I wonder if I still can. I'm sure I can. I've been driving for a very long time. But there's a lot of talk about this now, specifically to introverts and everything else. And then there's a lot of debate around, the forcing yourself to kind of socialize once the time is right, and that the benefit can outweigh the anxiety. And I think there's some truth to that. There absolutely is. In fact, like for me, people are always shocked when they meet me, or they've known me for a long time and maybe they didn't listen to the podcast. When they find out that I have a very serious mental illness and that I have what at a lot of times is crippling social anxiety. I actually don't like socializing. Now I get into a mode, and that's part of what I do. It's what I've done for a lot of my career and the jobs I've worked. It's a little easier for me to kind of put on a persona and stand on a stage and host an event. It's easier for me to discuss, person to person over a drink, marketing plans and stuff like that. But for the most part, I'm not huge on like going to parties with a bunch of people I don't know. I that's just how I am. And while I do agree that there is a benefit to that, to kind of forcing yourself to it, and I've said this on a previous episode, everyone has their own speed. Everyone's going to go at their own speed. But you also have to weigh how much the anxiety can take over you as opposed to the benefits post socializing with somebody. That's the important thing to remember. Yes, it will be, but everyone's going to go at their own speed. And everyone has a different level of anxiety when they deal with these things. For me, it's going to be horrible. I am already having anxiety about the world opening back up. I'm not ready to be around a bunch of people. I'm just not. So respect that and consider that with yourself. And for the love of God, don't push people out into the world. Because it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for a lot of people. And that's going to be a lot of people weighing the benefit that comes after socializing versus the anxiety that's going to creep up with going out into the world too soon. Take care of yourselves. That's the important thing. All right, parenting. Oh, man. My 4-year-old. It was Easter last weekend. I'm sure she ate another piece of candy at some point. We don't do a lot of candy in this house. My kid does not get a lot of sugar. It's just not something that happens in this house at all. You know, occasionally she'll get some sugar. The sugar she does get tends to be from like fruit. We do some dried mango, but it's unsweetened dried mango. And she does eat some chocolate now and then, but I give her dark chocolate chips. She'll get a couple of those like in her little snack mix. It's not a lot of sugar in there. So when she gets her hands on some sugar, oh boy. And especially like last Sunday, she got her hands on a piece of cake. And this was a sugar monster, I would say. Sugar monster. And it's because she doesn't have it a lot. So when it gets in her body, she's like, whoa, it's like a drug. Oh. So that was a fun time on Sunday, I'll tell you that. But we did have a lot of other fun because Easter, it's not always nice to do Easter when you have a kid at home. And she did get some Legos for Easter, which now we've had the like they're not, I think they're Duplo. They're not the like huge plastic ones, but they're not Legos. They're like the in-between size Legos or whatever. She's had those for a while and we play with them. But man, she got a little Lego kind of just mixed set for Easter from the Easter Bunny. And that thing's awesome. My childhood came back. and we've been playing so much Legos this week. She's learning how to build things and I'm showing her how to build things and she just learned to put them together and you know, certain things are at 4, certain things are difficult because there's the really tiny pieces like the eyes that go on. And then she did get a couple bricks stuck together and I had to get them apart for her. And I like that was coming back to me as a kid like, oh God, spending like 20 minutes trying to get 2 bricks apart. I'm going to have to get one of those brick separators that kids these days will never understand what it's like to not have a Lego brick separator. But I digress. I'm all about the Legos. There's going to be more Legos happening in this house. I like them. I got a Lego VW bus behind me. You can't see it on the video. You see it in you see it in the pictures, I think. I don't know. That camera might. Well, maybe we'll do a studio. We've done that. Haven't I done that? No. Yeah, Centibration. Maybe we'll do another one because that was pre-Common Sense Sundays. All the Legos, though. I'm looking forward to it. My kid is definitely ready for some socialization. I don't think she's going to have the anxiety that I have had. I think a little bit of it will come up kind of subconsciously. I definitely can see my kid getting overwhelmed just because there's so much going on. But she's definitely ready. If she just gets to see a friend like walking by, she just starts jumping up and down. It's pretty wild. She's had a couple of socially distanced play dates with people who are completely quarantined, and I'm talking masks, not hugging and stuff, more, you know, just socially distanced. So she's ready. And I know all of my friends with kids out there are their kids are absolutely ready. Absolutely. One more thing I'll say, and this is an idea for any of you out there that haven't done this before. I haven't done it before, but my kid kind of just hit the same age. And it's funny because a lot of my friends that live in the area, they all did the same thing. We picked up these caterpillar kits, and we were able to get them at this place called Kid Space. It's like a kids museum activity thing. We have a membership there. And but I think you can also just order them, and they give you a cup of caterpillars. We had 5 caterpillars in this cup, and then they're very small. I mean, they were tiny when they came, and you leave them in there, and you let them grow, and they eventually get into a cocoon, and then you move it to another thing so that when they come out of the cocoon, there's butterflies, and you have them in this thing, and then you give them you feed them some sugar water for like a couple days, and then release them. It's this whole fun thing, and it's great. My kid was so excited about the whole thing. I did have to get her to stop running around with them because she'd be like, look at my caterpillars. Like, whoa. And it's good for kids in California. When they do stuff like that, you say, hey, remember when we had that little earthquake and you were like, why is it shaking? That's a big earthquake for them. So once I've got her finally stop doing that, they cocooned up and we're waiting for butterflies now. And it's such an easy thing. It was like cheap as hell, too. It was a few bucks. Such an easy thing to do. The kid loved it. So that's like her pets right now. Is she named them all. I can't remember all 5 of their names, but she named them all. And I think she kind of... I'm a little bit scared because I think we've discussed, like, okay, they'll live in there and then we'll let the butterflies go and they'll fly away. And I think she partly thinks they're going to come back. So I'll keep you updated on that. I've probably got a week or 2 until they I think they're in there for a while in those because of chrysalis or whatever. So we'll see how that goes. That'll probably be the day I end up getting a real pet. Just make up for that. God, I hope not. All right, common sense. Let's get into some common sense. Got a couple things this week. Not a lot. Not a ton. Then we're going to get into some entertainment news. Which is okay. Because, yeah. It's funny. I rested up for a week off, but now I'm also like, I'm tired. Very, very tired. Common sense. Nike and Lil Nas X. We talked about that 2 weeks ago. And those, the devil shoes, the Satan shoes. And I said, calm down. They're sneakers. You know, and everyone's going to boycott Nike. It's like Nike didn't even make the freaking things. Well, of course, Nike had to sue. They didn't even sue Lil Nas X. They sued the company, the studio, or, you know, the art studio or whatever that made these shoes and sold them. Sued them. And then ended up settling out of court. The shoes are going to get recalled. Which, can you imagine? Like, you got these shoes. There's like 1,000 of them. That they only made like I think they made 666 of them. They cost you $1,000. You think anybody's sending them back? No. I don't even want the shoes, but if I had somehow ended up with the shoes, I'm not sending them back now. This thing's going to be worth a ton of money in a few years. So, but of course, and that's the thing, is I want to point out right now, because everyone's like, geez, Nike, what are you doing? It's like, they have to. As a company, you have to protect your intellectual property. That swoosh is an intellectual property. You can't have confusion in the market. I think it's silly. I think it's dumb. They're shoes. Anybody with a brain in their head is going to know, like, well, Nike didn't make these things with human blood and souls. Like, that's silly. You know? But they have to. So don't get on Nike. They're protecting their brand. This caused a huge controversy. People want to boycott Nike. So they had to. And if you want to boycott Nike because they had to sue this other company and everything, I would like to remind you of a certain company whose mascot is a mouse, a talking mouse. They at one point sued a preschool. A preschool, because that preschool had some Disney characters hand-painted on the wall at their school. Disney sued them to get them to take the mural down. So if you're going to get up in arms about something like Nike where they're genuinely protecting their brand, yeah, go after the mouse too and stop watching all your silly little Marvel shows. All right, here we go. Deshaun Watson gets worse by the day. We're going to have a follow-up on this because I can't. Now his lawyer is saying that some of the interactions were consensual. That's the thing. You know, he's like, I deny any wrongdoing at all. I'm not saying if it was consensual, it was wrongdoing, but now suddenly it's like, oh, no, I didn't have sex, but, you know, it was consensual. Oh, Deshaun Watson. This guy's done. He's going down, and he's done. Little common sense tip for you. I think I've mentioned this because I actually picked up some slippers there a few months ago, and I'd kind of forgotten about it, but I get targeted with Nordstrom ads in my social feeds, but not Nordstrom like, you know, come buy a suit or... there's no clothing I buy at Nordstrom. Nothing. No clothing. I mean, I think they sell Levi's, but they probably charge you $200 for a pair of Levi's that are $50 at Kohl's. But the shoes, they pop up. And so I got these Vans slippers. And the other day it popped up again. I picked up another pair of those Vans slippers that you can't even get them through Vans. They sell out within minutes. Picked them up after tax. Free shipping. It was less than $25 for another pair of these slippers. So if you're a shoe person like I am, and I'm sure there's other brands on there, but definitely Vans, keep an eye on Nordstrom when you're trying to find a particular pair of Vans that may be sold out on Vans, because Nordstrom has them a lot of times. And it's free shipping, so you're not paying shipping. It's fantastic. And I'm not like I said, I'm not a big Nordstrom. I got nothing against them. It's just I always joke, like I can't afford to even walk into Nordstrom. That's way above what I like to spend on clothing. All right, entertainment news. Of course, you've most likely heard this news this week, but R.I.P. to DMX. Unfortunately, he passed away this last week. I think it was last weekend we heard that he was in a coma, essentially, and did pass away this week. And as you know, I'm not a fan of rap. I just never really have been a big... Now, there's obvious ones. I enjoy some Snoop Dogg, you know. And then I guess if you consider the streets, because he raps over the music, but I like there's a few. They have like Atmosphere, Aesop Rock. But for the most part, I'm not a huge fan of rap. However, DMX is one of those few that I always really appreciated, and especially in the right circumstance. So I think, depending on your age, we all listened at one point. We all listened. So imagine high school athlete Sean, really, especially playing basketball. If you know anything about basketball, layup lines. When DMX comes on in that layup line, you feel like you're going to fly through the hoop, and you're ready for that game. Absolutely. So mad respect to DMX. Sad to see him go. 50's way too young. Way too young. But R.I.P. Maybe listen to some DMX this week in remembrance of him. All right. I need to approach this softly because I'm going to call out my hypocrisy here a little bit. I'm just going to do it. And I'll admit it. I said it to my wife the other day. I was like, yep, no, I'm not talking major hypocrisy, but I tend to call out things that are blatant pushes for merchandising. Disney's like the worst about this. I still say to now, Guardians of the Galaxy, the second one, that is a 2-hour-long Baby Groot toy commercial. That's what it is. They did that so they could sell Baby Groot toys. You know, I railed against the Porgs. So much railing against the Porgs. That would have been Go Tell Us to the Wall. So if you've only been listening for Common Sense Sundays, I railed against the Porgs. I said, this is ridiculous. Stop, Disney. We don't need more of this crap. You're just trying to sell product. It happens. Well, we got a new trailer this past week for the new Ghostbusters movie that's coming out. And they have created mini Stay Puft Marshmallow Men, which is clearly a ploy at product marketing. They're going to sell the hell out of those things. And here's the thing. I didn't like the Porgs. I didn't like the Baby Groot. I think there's something else. See, Baby Yoda I was a little bit on board with. I was like, I didn't like it, but then I watched the man. I was like, okay, no, he's funny. He's cool. He's cool. But the mini Stay Puft Marshmallow Men, when they're available, there will be a few in the studio. I am a sucker. I love Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters is one of my first loves as a kid. I had the Stay Puft Marshmallow plush when I was a kid. We went to New York. My mother took me to New York. We went on a Ghostbusters tour, ate at Tavern on the Green, at the window that Rick Moranis pounds on when he's getting chased by the thing. So, apologies, wall fans, common sensors. That is my hypocrisy. And I'll own it. And I'll probably still rail against some DCP product that comes out in future Disney Consumer Products. It would be Disney Consumer Products product. I was like, did I just? Nope. But then I stop and I second guess myself, so it doesn't matter now. I'll still rail against that. But I'm going to get me some of those mini Stay Puft Marshmallow Men. I can tell you that right now. All right, Mighty Ducks Game Changers. If you've got Disney Plus, I hope you've watched this. Huge nostalgia push. I'm a Mighty Ducks fan. I think I'm a little too old to be into like I remember D2, and I did appreciate D2 not for the film, but as a kid in San Diego who played roller hockey at that time, it helped to re-elevate the popularity of roller hockey in San Diego, which was already popular before that, but then it kind of revamped it and gave it a few more years. So I did appreciate that from D2, but really it's the Mighty Ducks, the original one. I saw it in the theater. Loved it. Just have loved it ever since. And so I was a little bit reluctant just because I was like, please don't let this be cheesy. Here's the thing. Mighty Ducks Game Changers, cheesy. So much fun. So much fun. Emilio Estevez is great. I don't want to spoil anything. But it's cheesy, but it's also, it has a good message to it. And I think we're going to continue to get that. So if you've got Disney Plus and you haven't checked it out yet, even if you're not a Mighty Ducks fan, I think you will enjoy it. It does stars Lauren Graham. If you're not familiar with that name, she is Gilmore Girls. I want to say Rory, but Rory's the daughter. They have the same name. The mom on Gilmore Girls is Lauren Graham. So check it out. Cheesy, but I love it. And that one's just starting out. Unfortunately, we have a show today. It's probably already out there. I haven't watched it yet, so I'm not giving any spoilers. The great series Shameless on Showtime is officially ending tonight. Last series finale, the last episode of Shameless is airing tonight. I'm incredibly sad to see it go. I love Shameless. It's probably going to go down as a top 5 show of mine of all time, maybe even top 3. I mean, nothing's ever going to unseat Mr. Robot, but it's probably going to be a top 3 show of all time for me. Really sad to see it go. Great acting, great writing. It's, it has its ups and downs as far as like, that's great, that's whatever, but it's a fun show with great actors and characters in it. Really going to miss it. I'll probably shed a little bit of a tear when I watch it. Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be some sad stuff in it. If you watch a show, you kind of know what's coming. But I'm sure I'll shed a little tear just with the end of Shameless. So thank you to Showtime and everyone that worked on Shameless for making that such a great show. I was late to the game. I started watching it like a few seasons in. I believe this is like the 12th. Yeah, a lot of seasons of it. Check out Shameless if you never have. I've talked about it a few times in the past on the podcast. Punk in the Park. I am now officially ticketed for 2 days at Punk in the Park. It's November. By then, I will be ready. My anxiety will not be high. So if you see me at Punk in the Park, I might not give you a hug if I don't know you. But come up to me. I'm gonna have some stickers for you. We'll give you some Go Tell It to the Wall stickers. November 6th and 7th in Orange County. There, check it out. Bomb Pops officially got added this past week. My sis and I were waiting for that one. They were on the original bill. That was one of the big reasons. And it was 2 days. Was it 2 days before? I think it was. Either way, Bomb Pops were playing on the first day that I was ticketed for. So now we're waiting for the rest of the bands. A lot more are going to be added. And that's the thing is so many bands are going to be clamoring. They're going to be eager to play shows. So I'm kind of waiting for that Bad Cop announcement. I have a feeling Bad Cop's going to end up playing it. A lot of Fat Wreck bands playing. NoFX is playing, so Fat Mike's going to be there. Me First and the Gimme Gimmes are playing the Sunday date of Punk in the Park. And if you're familiar with the current lineup of Me First and the Gimme Gimmes, Stacey D is in Me First and the Gimme Gimmes. So Bad Cop can't play a show outside of Punk in the Park on that Sunday. It's maybe even tough for them to play elsewhere the night before. So I have a feeling we're going to get Bad Cop. Stacy's going to be there anyway. So many Fat Wreck bands. God, it's going to be so much fun. It's going to be so much fun. The Drowns and Barstool Preachers. I mentioned they were in the studio working. Both those bands, both of them, now officially wrapped on recording. Obviously still mastering, going through all that stuff, but they are wrapped on recording. The both of them. Barstool Preachers album, pretty much done. The Drowns new album, pretty much done. Those are probably going to be the top 2 albums of 2021. I got to look. Those probably both coming out in 2021. Those are going to be probably top 2 albums of 2021. I'll predict it now. Although that DKM album might be pretty good. One's coming out soon. But we'll see. Really looking forward to those. And this one will likely end up in the top 10. I just haven't had a chance to listen. But on Friday, Chaser, the band Chaser out of Orange County, released their new album Dreamers. It's out now. I haven't had a chance to listen to it. I got to go on iTunes and download it and listen. I want to give it a proper listen. So I'll probably give you a little bit of my own personal feedback on that next week as after I get a chance to actually. I like to, when a new album comes out, I like to really, I'll pour myself a nice drink and I'll sit either with some really good headphones or just I got it on the stereo and just undistracted take it in. That's what I like to do with bands that I really like. Sometimes if it's like okay, let's throw that on and listen. But like I'm a Chaser fan, so I'm looking forward to giving that a nice in-depth listen. Once I have a little bit of time this week. And Venomous Pinks, another band that I'm a huge fan of. Obviously, as you know, big fan of theirs, as well as Chaos Merch. They've announced a live EP that is coming out soon. It's called Based on a True Story. The artwork's pretty awesome on it. Look it up. And it's going to have 4 tracks, and it's coming out April 23rd. That's a live EP from Venomous Pinks. The Pinks, God, I love those ladies out there in Arizona. They do great music. The live stream was fun. They had a live stream. Oh, yeah, the night of the last time I was in the studio recording. That was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that one as well. All right. Whew. I'm getting better at saying, we're going to go not saying we're going to go short this week when I know we're not going to go short this week. Like that was after a week off. That's what happens. And I even pulled some stuff out that I was like, I'm not going to have time this week. Silly Sean. Bits are for next week. Tried to make a tricks joke that didn't land. Nonetheless, that is going to do it for us this week. Don't forget, you can follow us on various social platforms. One of those would be facebook.com/Go Tell It to the Wall. Of course, also YouTube. Head over to YouTube, search Go Tell It to the Wall, subscribe to our channel, and Instagram, my own personal Instagram, which is at SoCalSean. That's right. Follow me on there. You're going to get all kinds of good stuff. And don't forget SeanO'RourkeLive.com. Head over there. Make sure you bookmark it. Stay up to date on everything and anything that is Sean O'Rourke Live, Go Tell It to the Wall, Common Sense Sundays. And please, 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 if you have the means to do so, help us out on Patreon. Or buy yourself some merch. The merch is, that's the thing. The merch is, it's inexpensive merch. Like, not like Rancid out here charging you $35 for a t-shirt. For the love of God, buy some merch. I'm just kidding. If you don't want merch, don't buy it. But it's there. I'm just saying, you can have some common sense merch. Yeah, that's that. We will be back next week. Same wall place, same wall time, with episode 43 of Common Sense Sundays. And we've got some new stuff coming up. Make sure, actually, check out YouTube because there's new content going on there. And I think, if you're still listening, you didn't shut off the episode yet, I think next weekend, we may go live on the episode. That's not a guarantee. What will happen next weekend is we're going to be testing out the new live streaming stuff. So keep an eye out for me just popping up there on Facebook or on YouTube and come interact and futz around and tell me what color I should dye my hair. Don't forget that comment or go on the page. Tell me what color I should dye my hair. I'm trying to get people to vote on this. Now, if it's horrible, and my wife gets final approval because she has to look at me all the time. You all have to look at me like once a week. So she'll get final approval. But, or really, I mean, kind of, both ways. Like, no, we're not, but I would like to get some votes on that. So anyway, like I said, back next week, same wall place, same wall time with episode 42 of Common Sense Sundays. Until then, wall fans, Common Sensors, podcast consumers, remember, no matter what you do, no matter who you're with, no matter where you go, and no matter why you are doing it, always use common sense.